I don't know where we clap. Yep. Here you are. Go right in there, will ya? Okay. It is hot as shit in here. You have no idea. Whew. You probably have no idea because it might even not be summer by the time I end this. Because I'm a slow working bitch. That's what I am. Hi, hello. Salutations. I'm new. Right. Moving on. To say Dragon Ball Daima split the fandom would be quite an understatement. Knowing its time of airing, from October 11th to February 28th, I've seen my fair share of fights amid the fans over what works, what didn't, what feels like Dragon Ball, and what was a letdown. Although I may be biased since the country where I'm from seems to be bitter by nature. I think it might be it. But overall, I still saw a lot of content from the English-speaking fandom that goes over their gripes with the series, and while the overall narrative seems to be quite positive, I think it would be fair to address any criticism of the show. I've gathered a lot of opinions about Daima, and today I've made it my mission to go over them and see what is legitimate, what is quick and dumb, and what misses the point and nuances that blur the line for some of them. For starters, let's set the stage. From the events of the Buu saga stirs dire consequences. The demon realm is left without a king, but not for long. Goma, Dabra's brother, takes the throne and is manipulated into making a desperate decision by Arinsu, a scientist with grand ambitions. They venture onto Earth with their only Namekian left in the demon realm, so that he may be of help to summon Shenron, with which they may nullify the threat of the warriors that vanquished Buu. And for shits and giggles, they kidnap Dende too. This, of course, totally goes against the initiative because Goku and gang now have a reason to have beef with Goma. A ploy by the aforementioned Arinsu, who then sends one of her lackeys undercover to bring the gang to the demon realm, gather the Dragon Balls for her, and probably defeat Goma. Shin, Goku, and Glorio then travel around the first demon realm and prove that Goku is overkill for the threats that populate this world. After getting a taste of the culture, beating some opponents and meeting the local royalty, Goku gets the first Dragon Ball, guarded by a Tamagami. They meet with Vegeta, Bulma, Hybris, and Piccolo. From then the plot speeds up. They go and descend to the second Dragon Ball in the later realm, open the gates to the third, and go save Dende. All the while, Degasu is beaten, Goma gets himself a powerful artifact, and Arinsu awaits Glorio with her two creations, Ku and Du. Goma proves to be an issue for everyone though. The game promptly gets turned back into adults to beat him. Ku lands the final blow and gets crowned, which suits everyone, and the gang gets to go back home. Whew, that was fast, wasn't it? Well, that's ironic, because here comes the first criticism on my list, and the one I've seen float around the most. Pace. How many times have I seen Daima watchers complain about the pace? Too slow, they say. Well, I say nay. I don't actually. It is really slow, but what I intend to say is that it's not an issue. People really have their expectations of what Dragon Ball should be. That is understandable so far. Dragon Ball, the manga particularly, thrives in its fast pace and tension building, but what people fail to realize in my eyes is that it's not super. It's not trying to be. Nor is it trying to be Z. Hell, save for 2 plot points and a bunch of winks, which it does to Super too, it's not even trying to be GT. For me, this criticism and a few others we'll go over stems from a misunderstanding of the very nature of Daima. Every art piece strives to be something, and meeting it halfway through is essential to have a good experience. In that sense, Daima isn't even trying to be the next new thing for Dragon Ball. It's not even 20 episodes long. It's clear it's not supposed to be seen as the next overarching continuation going forward. So then, what is it? Well, it's not really hiding what it is. It's a celebration, an anniversary series. The project wasn't planning to fall upon the 40th, anniversary milestone, but it's clear from the length to Toriyama's involvement and to its content that Daima is meant to be a celebration of Dragon Ball. Hooray, let's see another quick adventure, admire the sights, appreciate the fights, and go over what we love from all fronts of Dragon Ball. That relates to pacing in the sense that we know everything is going to be alright. We know nothing is going to happen to Goku. And this isn't a new series that tries to redefine Dragon Ball over 100 episodes, this is a contemplation. We flow through the universe in the ambience in full knowledge that all is good. We celebrate. We're not rushing, we're not feigning high stakes. We're on a victory lap here, with the characters we love and the author we followed. And it's alright to still disregard the pacing as a flaw of Daima, but to say it's supposed to be something else would be disingenuous to the overall objective of the series. It's alright for Daima to be slow-paced, it's supposed to be slow-paced. If you don't like it, that's alright too, but it's not supposed to be anything else. And you would be wise to accept it. Such a fun point to discuss. A lot of people say the power scaling is all over the place. I don't think that's the case. The power scaling is mighty clear. Goku beats anyone here in base. If he wants to flex, he'll pop out Super Saiyan, but otherwise nothing is an issue for Goku. The thick air slowing him down is like Goku struggling to lift a few tons in Dragon Ball Z. Tamagamis are directly stated to be around Dabra level, but that was Dabra from centuries ago. Furthermore, the one we saw was, yes, older, but also amped by Babidi's magic. Adult Goku in Super Saiyan 2 probably got a tad stronger since the end of Buu, enough for him to, with its kid body, equal a far weaker Dabra, and thus a Tamagami. Makes sense so far. The wish seems to have weakened them only by limiting the output their bodies can provide. Imagine if Saiyans had their primes in childhood instead of adulthood, where they stay most of their lives. It's not really unbelievable that 30-40 years of training would still bring Goku this high, just not as high as an adult, but still ridiculously strong. And it's basically what happened. The training didn't vanish, his body was not reversed, it was forced back to a younger metabolism. Neva can give power boosts to Tamagamis and people, and he's shown as a more potent wizard than a Babidi on a few occasions, so totally believable. Ku and Du are weaker than Kid Buu, since that Buu is a reference scale they have in the demon realm, and they aren't shown to be too strong compared to anyone else. The Megath, they're not as impressive as you all make it out to be. First, the gang didn't struggle with them, they wanted to be a non-issue and simply leave. They didn't want to box with a middle schooler and its dog. Otherwise, I believe it would have been dealt with by using Super Saiyan 2 or 3. And then, Kid Buu was around the strongest Glins in terms of power. The Megath and Gigath, for that matter, are stated to be the most powerful beings around here. Simple math, if the Megath are that strong compared to Glins, they can be stronger than even specifically weak Buu forms, which still gives trouble to Goku and Co. I wouldn't be surprised if an adult Megath could beat the gang in raw strength. Could still be winnable with strategy, but if they want to say Gigath can actually wipe the floor with them in their current state, fine by me. Goku doesn't have the ridiculously strong Super Saiyan Blue up his sleeve, he's still around this level. And Goma poses no incoherence in the power scaling because his strength is never a threat. It's his magical invincibility that's a problem. Hell, it seems like he gets disintegrated a few times before the eye rejects him and amps him further. Speaking of that... Magic isn't scaled on the same basis as Ki, because it is not Ki. I've seen a few people complain that Goku was hurt by some magical firearms while failing to remember Shin could restrain Super Saiyan 2 Gohan with magic. Babidi could amp people, make them blow up, create shields that can withstand far more than Babidi could output in Ki, because simply put, it's not Ki. It's not a different form of Ki, a different appliance, because Goku can sense Ki, none of the Demon Realm seems to be able to, and it's said that the locals of the Demon Realm are born with a magical ability they can fine-tune. People aren't born with special Ki abilities, at most they're born with higher potential. From what we can gather, magic works the same on everyone up to a point. It works just as greatly against King Piccolo than against Frieza, for example. But it has a breaking point in terms of strength. Since Piccolo could cut through Babidi's shield, that Boo can resist the restraining of Shin but not Babidi's sealing technique, and that Vegito can outfreak Buhan's candy beam, it seems that Super Saiyan Grade 2 and up are where the magic starts to be overpowered. From then on, it's a case-by-case basis on who wields the magic and how strong is the spell. But other than these high ends of power and magic, magic works on everyone the same. That's why it can harm Piccolo, Vegeta, Goku the same way it harms Pansy. Save for turning Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2, which Goku eventually does to do with the soldiers, they remain vulnerable to magic. I was on the fence at first when I laid my eyes on the transformation scene and the action following. I was mixed because I wasn't hyped, nor was I angry. I was perplexed at first. I didn't really get it. Didn't get why, how, like from a writing standpoint, but that monkey run halfway through did something to me. It left me wondering, and eventually I got it. And now I love the form. Genuinely. It lacks that weird trait that made Goku grow up whenever he turned into a Super Saiyan 4 in GT, which was a confession in disguise that the Kid Goku idea wasn't panning out the way they were supposed to be. Rather than saying they couldn't handle the choreography of a small Goku, Daima took full responsibility and ran with it. And that little monkey fight was great. The red design to accentuate the demonic nature of the form, the design of the chest is similar to the design philosophy of demon clothes, and so of Toriyama's demonic iconography, the little M, that we find kind of everywhere within demons. Yeah, that's here all around the form, and I love that. And the fact that Toriyama's stand-in, and we'll go over that, Neva was inspired by Goku's will to fight to the point of making a Super Saiyan 4 canon, in the meta sense, but also to adopt Goku in the magical and demonic depths, but also to adopt Goku in the magical and demonic depth of his kingdom. I love that as an idea. It's Toriyama giving back little Goku, fighting with instinct, telling play, moving like a proper Sun Wukong, rather than the mature fighter we usually have in its place. And I find that thematically resonant. For me, it's Goku and the audience earning a gift. Goku's strength to persevere with the power of the world he's fighting for by coming back to his roots, and for us, to get Super Saiyan 4. At first they gave us back Goku from mid-Dragon Ball, where he was a trained martial artist, but now they gave us what I can only describe as an ultimate Goku? In the sense that it brings together and culminates all the aspects of his character. Because Goku completed his arc of maturity and warrior in Z. Then Daima allows him to also embody the talent and flexibility of his youth. All of this culminating in the recovery of his savagery. All of this fitting together and accumulating to make the Super Saiyan 4 and Goku a whole that brings together all his facets over the years. In this, I think that Daima's Super Saiyan 4 carries a lot more meaning than the original, which granted is allowed to tell its own story. I like the original, but now I actually prefer this. The seasoned warrior, mature veteran with them big old hands and ape-like fighting style, bringing Goku full circle. Super Saiyan 4 in Daima, something I was perplexed by, won me over after I understood what it set out to do. And in typical Dragon Ball fashion, I think a lot of people just didn't care enough to think it through. Neva is not a plot device. His abilities aren't random, like I've heard. In universe, he is the oldest Namekian alive, with all the wisdom to show, and with what he did in his youth, creating the gates and the Dragon Balls, even for his people, he was exceptional. So give him a few thousand years to grow stronger, and sure, I'll believe anything. Now, in the meta sense, I'll join Masako X when I say this. He's a Toriyama stand-in. It's so obvious. He's basically an incarnation of Toriyama in the series, eh? This guy is basically the original creator of the Dragon Ball. He sings Dragon Ball's theme song at some point. He acts senile. He prefers to be a spectator and even instigator of good-natured conflicts. He's extremely old to the point of possibly being a witness to the creation of the universe. He seems to be all-powerful or near that end, and watch him goof around with this in mind. I promise, it'll be far more enjoyable. That's the point where the opinions I'm reviewing start to be a lot more reasonable. And to the point I'm actually going to agree with this one. They are so wasted. Degesu especially. He's got an engaging personality and the most character-acting animation out of the whole series. He's so enjoyable, and yet his conclusion is such wasted opportunity. He goes out subtly. One scene, he's dealt with. The episode is named after him. He should have been the centerpiece of the whole thing. He obviously wouldn't be much more threatening, because at the end of the day, his only leverage is that he has a gun pressed against a literal baby. But the whole episode should have been focusing on his reasons and his tactics in evading. Don't make him a physical threat, make him almost get away with it, to the point where you have rooting for the guy as a smart underdog, but also get satisfied when he finally gets pummeled. Degesu, my beloved, you should have had a dignified ending. As for Goma, I'll give him that. He's a non-threat too, as his character is supposed to be. But he's not funny enough, nor is he active enough to get behind him. So when he gets the third eye, it feels cheap. It feels as though he should have done something significant, one thing that actually slowed down everyone for a time before being handed the artifact. So then he would have made at least an attempt at being a threat. As for the third eye, except for the simple design, I enjoyed it. With restraint. Learning how he heals over time and over, and how the eye is slowly infusing more power into him in a ridiculous fashion was neat. His power set was interesting. Why are they kids? Well, as I'm going over this point and will further on, it's because it's a celebration. We're going back to things in a franchise that were great and trying to make GT's idea work. And for the most part, I think it worked great. We're back to Goku being underestimated and slowly getting the respect of everyone he encounters. The explanation for him getting the Power Ball is cute, and the choreography with the way he really emphasizes that this is a mature Goku that remains this person, but also allows himself to progress a little bit and have fun with his new physiology. We've never really seen Vegeta being underestimated to this extent before, so that was an interesting facet of his character in this, and even more when he's at his most entertaining when he's dog-walking his opponent. As for Bulma, it's more of a joke. And for Shin, Piccolo and Kibito, it's close to useless as a concept. The only thing that could have made it better, in my opinion, is using the little collar that Sucks Life expected to try and kill Goku in an interesting fashion nearing the end, but he's being powered up by aging, and so he gets to break out of it as a young adult like he was at the end of Dragon Ball. But that would have led nicely into that whole celebration feel to see him like this for an episode or two, and then it's actually not enough, so everyone gets turned back to their ages, and Goku looks more sharp and big like he ended up normally. Say for an idea along those lines, I think the child thing was used to great effect. there are no stakes. True! Then again, I'm going over this shortly because I don't want to repeat myself, but this isn't supposed to be. We're taking a walk with some characters we love, and by the end we get a climax, but apart from that, we're just chilling. Among the 5 videos I plan on releasing by the start of this channel, you should be able to go see a video on that, the continuity itself, where I go over the truest canon known to man for Dragon Ball, and that Toriyama is dead, and that it shouldn't be changed ever again. I mean, maybe something will come up, like a Toriyama statement or something. Most likely, the canon will stay the same forever now. As for Daima specifically, the issues don't lie when you think they do. I'll explain it in the video, but it doesn't mean Daima doesn't break its cosmological chronology, because the years described by Shin as when certain events took place in Z are contradicted by the timeline of events in Daima. I can forgive Nahare being part of the Shin's illustrated explanation because it's not how it happened, it's just a way of telling us roughly. The years just don't line up. Buu's massacre, Shin's lifespan, and their origin in the demon realm contradict each other, and that is an actual oversight. Just like that one single line about Piccolo's forgetting Namekian for some reason. And it's so sad too. All you had to do was make him say, "Ah, yes, but do you know old Namekian?" For the whole deal to be sealed. But now it's contradictory too, and I hate it. The ships, they do break often. There are too much shenanigans with the ships, and they don't feel like running gag. Finding quirky hijinks isn't that hard. We shouldn't have gotten the ships breaking or being stolen as a plot point for like 5 times? It's too much. Now I'm going back to defending the show. The gates were never useless because you could simply use a fish or use never to get through. No, the gates are thematic in nature. They represent quite literally the state of the demon realm and the lack of freedom of its more constrained citizens. Freeing the gates wasn't just so that Goku and Ko could defeat Goma, it's a representation of this world being slowly freed by Goku's adventure, just like the discovery of how to destroy the colors. This is all exemplified by the very end where Goku creates another fucking hole through the realm to make it 1, even freer than before, and 2, to cool down the third realm with the water of the second, make the whole place more cohesive. The heavy hair also seemed to have dissipated because in the conclusion to this whole thing, we see Majins freely fly about. Just like with the colors or environmental restrictions, I guess the gas can just dissipate over this new space or something. So no, the gates are simply another step in the liberation of the demon people. I think most people actually enjoyed Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, except for those concerned with the plot holes or something. I, on the other hand, didn't. I need you to understand that Super Saiyan 3 just doesn't work like that. It's not an achievable form through just training alone. That's the whole point of the form. But I will go over that in a separate video discussing the various forms of Super Saiyans. For now, I will just headcanon that Vegeta achieved Super Saiyan 2.8 as a way to close the gap with Goku, but quickly realized later on that it's totally useless and just kept working on his Super Saiyan 2 or space power. I don't know. Same thing as for the stakes or the slow pacing. It's the premise. Meet the show halfway. I think the lore is generally interesting, although Raimus lacks a tad bit of details. The Shins don't really make sense, and Buu's creation was retcon, kinda, not really, but a little. But overall, I think they made a nice job. They were never supposed to be more than a gag and a representation of more of those civilians of the demon realm. I like their introduction and conclusion with how they got packed up by Vegeta, but what I prefer about them is their little venture into a shop where they meet Ku and Do. It really felt like we were in a living world, and seeing Ku being starstruck and the Commando being too broke to be heroes just added that little brick into the world building and theme of the show. I enjoyed it. The poses though, it isn't funny the third time around. Every other joke with them works, just not this one. And they should have made a more distinct designs for them too, because they kind of muddle into each other. And finally, Ku. I knew he would be the GOAT. All of you doubters during his debut, while I was already rooting for him, loved his design, his personality and his fighting style. His surprises like his intellect were really well used too. I just loved my silly little guy being silly. You all wanted a Jiren out of him. Oh, Rando, who's mighty powerful. And for what? Ku is such a gem as it is. And I'm really happy that Daima mostly introduces weak characters that are enjoyable despite that, and relevant still. So where does that leave us? Well, Dragon Ball Daima isn't perfect, and it's not trying to be. I think that's what we're getting at. It's a love letter, a victory lap, a weird little side quest in a universe that's been alive for over 40 years. And like any celebrations, it's messy, it's nostalgic, maybe even indulgent, but it knows what it is, and for those that meet it halfway, it has a lot to offer. If you hated it, that's fine. If you loved it, that's valid too. Hell, that's what I did. But if you're still unsure, maybe give it another look. Not through the lens of Z or Super or GT, but through the lens of a creator saying thank you. And maybe, just maybe, there's some beauty in that. Something worth celebrating. Let me know what you thought though. Did it work for you? Did I miss anything? Did I overthink it way too much? Probably. But hey, that's what you're in for with me. I love thinking way too hard about stuff I enjoy. Especially when I feel like it deserves a proper defense. And if you want more of this, stick around. I just started and I already have gotten your attention all the way through. I think I deserve a little something. Stick around. If you like Dragon Ball content, I'm right up your alley. Another video should be available right now actually, on Dragon Ball's final timeline, and I'm sure I'll go over stuff you didn't even know took place over the series. And if you like video game deep dives, or animated series breakdown, or superhero debates, I mean, that's coming too. For now though, my hot chocolate is finally perfectly heated up and mixed, so I'll catch you up in the next one, hopefully. This has been a Daima retrospective by the Mayor. See ya, goodbye, farewell. Fuck, it is hot in here. And I'm heating up a beverage on top of it. Why am I doing this to myself? Oh, welcome to the outro. Most of the time, you can stick around and just hear me rabble on about, like, the video, what happened, like how it came to be, you know. But this time I don't have much to say other than welcome